Hello and welcome to the Story Pilgrim, Bedgebury Pinetum. Now, you know that I love nature, getting out into it and amongst it. I also love learning, and there's nothing better than combining the two. In a forest of 100,000 trees, no two leaves are alike, and no two journeys along the same path are alike. Paulo Coelho. Look deep into nature, and then you will start to understand everything. Albert Einstein. Two quotes that resonate deeply within myself and the Story Pilgrim. Today we take a walk through trees. Before we do, please take a moment to make sure that you are following this podcast. Give that follow button a click. Right, off we head. Bedgebury Pinetum. Where was I supposed to go? What's it called? Lyndhurst and the New Forest. That was it. My memory's all over the place. But the traffic was really bad this morning, and I didn't fancy going that way, so I've gone the other way. I've headed east, and I am at the National Pinetum at Bedgebury. It says, what is a pinetum? It's basically a collection of trees. It's basically like an arboretum, but it is interested more in conifers, hence the pine part of pinetum. Conifers, cone-bearing, cones have the seeds in there. There are a selection of trees in here, which I am very, very excited to go and see. I have no idea what they are, but yeah, it's beautiful. Come up here. It was just just over an hour's drive from Brighton, and let's gonna wander around and see what they got. We've got a lovely little visitor centre here with a lovely little pond out the front, and very tame ducks. The ducks really just need feeding, basically. They're just obviously used to that. But it's not just about the trees. There are a lot of wildlife. I can't speak this morning. It's going to be fun, isn't it? And fungi and all those type of stuff. So we're going to wander around and enjoy the National Pinetum at Bedgebury. So there's hundreds of different trees in here. One of the first ones I come across is Saharan cypress. Apparently there's just 233 of these trees left growing in the desert in Algeria, which is where they're from. They can live to be over 2,000 years old, and they only produce 2 or 3 new trees every century. So that's pretty crazy, isn't it? So they've got one here that they're doing their little bit on, hopefully, this one, it's quite tall, but it's nowhere near as tall as what a fully grown Saharan cypress would hit. And another one here is the Japanese birch that they have collected seeds from in 2015 and brought them over here, germinated them here at Bedgebury. Japanese birch is one of the rarest trees in the world, and it's been here at Bedgebury. It's the first time in about 30 years that they've been able to successfully germinate them. I don't know if you can hear the children playing in the background. So there's a big school group here. Already learning a lot, and great to see the children running around discovering new and exciting things about trees, ferns and nature. As usual, my mind went a-wandering. So as I'm walking around here with all these amazing trees, I'm trying to find like a theme, and I'm sort of like, a tree. It's pretty stoic, a good solid tree stands there and, does its thing, stands there. Thought about like being stoic in life and standing for the things that you are passionate about, having opinions or standing firm with your morals, all that type of stuff. But as I stand here and I look around, there's so many varieties of trees. You know, there's obviously it's the pinetum, so there's I'm stood next to a star magnolia. There's just so many different various conifers. I can see giant redwoods. What's this one? This one's a Chinese rubber tree. Yeah, I'm in the magnolia part. They're all doing their own thing, but doing it very, very proudly. So I have a little butterfly here. All different shapes. There's underneath. There's all the ferns. There's a lot of areas where it's very cultivated, certain areas, and then there's other areas they're just letting it do its thing, just letting the wild, all the weeds and the bracken and the ferns and the foxgloves all do their own thing. And there's countless amount of butterflies flying around here at the moment. It's beautiful. It's stunning. So what is that? You know, how, if we were to compare our lives to a tree, you know, what type of tree would you be? But also, you know, like, how firm are you going to stand for the things that you stand up for? For me, personally, it's got firmer the older I get. You know, the more life experience that I've had, the more I can stand up for what I believe in and what I am passionate about. We just had the general election here in the UK, and there was an interview. The youngest MP was 22 years old, and he was on. I saw an interview with him on Breakfast TV, and first question, they're like, you know, can you do this at the age of 22? I mean, what life experience do you have? And he just kept coming back with going, what do you mean by life experience? What is life experience? What is life experience? Life experience is experience in life, is experiencing all the things that come along with life. Stress, anxiety, grief, happiness, joy, loneliness, companionship, all of those things that make you stronger in your opinions. And there's some arguments to be said, well, that's good that, you know, you're young and you can be manipulated, and, you know, here's this guy at 22 years old who's an MP, a member of Parliament. But in my personal life, you know, and you think about a tree, you look at a tree when the tree is growing and it's just a sapling, it's very susceptible. It can lean into the wind, you know, if it's not growing in an area where it's protected, it can be shaped by the external forces around it. So yeah, I'll sort of think about that, you know, about stoicism as standing up for your rights, or what you are, even. That's another thing, isn't it? So yeah, it's absolutely beautiful here. There's a little wood pigeon just sat in a very bushy tree here. It's very, as you can hear, it's very calming. The wind is just blowing through. It's just a lovely place. There's main trails that you can walk around here, but then they invite you with little trails that just sort of go to dead ends that you can walk off and come down to a lovely area which has got a load of swamp cypresses, which are really very tall, big trees. There's an oak next to us, but they're right next to a lovely pond which is just covered in water lilies. It's absolutely beautiful, and you can probably hear the machinery in the back. They're like digging a trench up on the hill over there. Next to the Gruffalo, they have a Gruffalo trail here for the children to wander around and discover different things, different characters, what that might live in the trees and in the wilderness. And we just spotted the gruffalo. He's up on the side there. So yeah, it's fun. If you've got kids, you can bring your kids and do the gruffalo trail. But it's lovely, and there's an area here next to this cypress, swamp cypress. It's like, I don't know if they're the roots coming up. They're just sort of like fingers coming out of the ground. They're really right by the edge of the water. Really cool. Pneumatophores, an aerial route specialised for gaseous exchange, or more affectionately known as knobbly knees. The Pinetum was not disappointing in any way. We found a lovely spot for a touch of lunch. I say we as sort of stopped for a little sandwich. I have Lucy with me here. She's chomping down on her... What are you eating?
Egg mayonnaise sandwich.
Oh, I've got corned beef with white pepper. And then some cheese and onion crisps. But they're just regular crisps from Sainsbury's. So they're nothing really special. But we're sat by the lovely pond. There's some geese on here with the water lilies. There's a little island in the middle with yet more conifers on it. So again, thinking about trees and the theme of being stoic and standing up, or not so much, for what you feel opinionated or not about. What do you think about that? How do you feel about like putting your opinions forward or not, and should you?
I think for me it depends on who I'm with, and if I trust those people, because I think everyone should be able to give their opinions, and you should be able to have a conversation about it rather than automatically being shut down. I think that can be a real problem. People just, aren't prepared to listen to the other side of, any kind of opinion. And I think it can then become a deal breaker in friendships or relationships. So for me, I feel I have to be stuck with people who I feel safe with to express those opinions, and I feel like I kind of need to gauge that and see how I feel.
Yeah,
and it kind of depends on the situation and who I'm with. But I wish I was a bit more. I wish I wasn't having to think about it that much. And maybe that will come with time.
Has that been conscious over there? Is that a conscious thing that's changed?
I would say I felt more able to say no as the years have gone on. I felt more comfortable actually being true to what I feel or what I want to do.
Why do you think that is?
I think just experience has made me feel less inhibited, and I think just trying it out and actually seeing what happens has definitely come. I'm thinking about, say, jobs that I've had over the years, and I've gradually learned to be more assertive and be more true to what I actually feel or what I want, and less of a people pleaser in that sense.
Oh, that was a magpie. I was wondering, as we sat down, we could hear squawking going on in the tree next to us. I thought it was a magpie, but I wasn't 100% sure, and it's just flown out and made that squawking sound as it did. Yeah. But I think it's also going back to, like, you're thinking about who you're with. It's taking into consideration their thoughts as well, isn't it? But sometimes a lot of people don't do that, and when that happens, I get really upset, because it's just like, why am I the one that always has to think about you? Why am I the one that's always thinking about what you do? Why am I the submissive one in a way?
Like censoring yourself.
Yeah, and that really, like, why can't they? Why are they allowed to? Why do they get away with it? You know?
Yeah, I think it's a balance between, I don't know, I feel like I kind of sit somewhere in between, thinking, you know, everyone should have the right to say how they feel, but also people have the right not to listen. So I don't know where that, you know, it's when people's opinions are law as far as they're concerned, and there's no conversation, no understanding of how it will be received, and it's well, I'll just say it anyway, and no thought of how that opinion will then impact the other person.
There's a lot of people like that in the world that are very much like that, and they have very much influence in either business or politics or religion. So how do they get into those positions? Just by being like that.
Yeah, if they're controversial as well.
Yeah.
And social media has given those people more of a voice, and there can be a sense, I think, of that person saying, people would say, oh, that's what the majority of us are thinking, and they're just the ones saying it, but then that opens up a whole other, you know, how much are they speaking for the majority, or is it just their opinion and people jump on the bandwagon or have been too scared to say that before, and it's like, oh, here's someone who's saying what I want to say, and it can become a bit of a sort of herd mentality, I think.
Just looking around here as we sit here, there's obviously surrounded by a lot of different trees, and there seems to be like a height that they all kind of get to, even though they're different species, or different, is it right to say that? Different species of trees, is that the right thing?
Yeah.
But they're all like, I mean, you can see they're clearly different, but they're all like kind of reached the same height, which I don't know what the height that is, 60 feet or so. And it's like, why isn't there one that like goes right really, really tall? Like, why isn't there one? What is there that's stopping them from going? Maybe it's the depth of the soil. I don't know, but just in general, even though there's so many different, they've all reached a pinnacle, and they ain't going past that. Which obviously is the environment around them.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of created a canopy of, and I guess it's to do with light, and maybe competing for light or heat sources. I don't know.
Anyway, I'm gonna have my crisps. That puts everything right.
Yeah.
Got to get some product placement in, because, you know, I'm making so much money from this podcast that this section is sponsored by little tiny cans of Coke. Oh, I can't open it with one hand.
Should I do it?
Yeah. Well, how big are these ones? 150ml. That was really quite gentle. Thank you. So yeah, Coca-Cola, I know you're listening. Do I want to be sponsored by Coke?
I also have an innocent smoothie. I believe they are owned by Coca-Cola.
Are they?
I think so.
Maybe then we just get... weren't they one of the first ones to sort of like be branded? Like the design... Wasn't it they were like... Oh, what's it called? They were more focused on the branding than they were on the actual thing, the food.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. It's very kind of striking, like, packaging, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like... I can't remember the story, but their origins was more focused on actually... Oh, I can't remember, I'm useless. It was... I thought it was something to do with... Rather than the taste, it's more about the actual packaging and what it looks like to get away from being known as Coca-Cola? Because what's the water that Coke owns?
I don't know. There's.
I can't remember.
Just list all the brands of water.
Yeah.
Got Smart Water.
Is it Smart? Oh, I can't remember.
Fiji. Voss.
I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah. If you're out there, what would I get though if I got sponsored by Coke? All the geese are coming out.
Coke for life. Free Coke for life.
Yeah, I don't think that.
That wouldn't be good.
Innocent smoothies would be alright.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of sugar in that as well. There's a lot of sugar in this. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of how many geese are there? Like 9, 10. There's 3 down here.
I always forget how big they are. As soon as you see them on land, you think, oh, they're huge.
Yeah, Canadian geese, these ones. Canadians. Yeah. Alright. I'm just going to keep having my Coke. If you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, join our club. So dessert is a Club Orange, which you can get in Aldi for really cheap. My favourite Club biscuit was the... was it biscuit and raisin? Is that what it was?
Purple one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my favourite one. But I haven't seen them for a very long time. But we're going with the Orange Club. What?
So we had really good school dinners, and obviously all the dinner ladies knew Mum because of her working at the school, and whenever we'd have, I don't know, sponge pudding or something, we had chocolate sponge, I remember sometimes, and chocolate custard, or just like a jam sponge and normal custard, and they'd always give me the skin of the custard because that's what Mum likes. And talk about, voicing your opinions. I hate the skin of the custard, and I would never say, please don't give it to me. Wow. I would always just take it. I don't think I ate it, but they obviously thought it was a nice thing because they probably thought, oh, Jackie likes the skin of the custard, so we'll give it to Lucy as well. But I've always hated it.
Why was the skin on the custard in the first place?
Oh, because they just make a big vat of it, and if you leave custards, it either goes a bit lumpy or separates a bit, and there's a skin on the top from just something to do with the milk or something in it. So they always used to give it to me, and I would just be like, thank you. And I would never eat it, and I'd probably just leave it on my school plate, the ones with the 2 separate compartments, one for pudding, one for the mains.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I wouldn't put up with that now. I'd be like, no thank you.
There we go. We live and learn.
We do. Say no to the skin on the custard.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Oh dear indeed. I love stories like that. Real stories. Ones that resonate. The scenery around us was resonating. Knowledge, peace, strength and hope. Get a reflection on the water over there. It's like, you see in the middle there, it's like glass, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So still.
It's really still. There's not a breath of wind around here. Yeah, it's like an impressionist paint. It could be a Monet, couldn't it?
Yeah, could be. So there's all the different colours of the green and brown, and then the lilies.
Mm-hmm. This is an area here which is a bit more shady because it's there's a lot more larger trees together, and there's lots of ferns here. You've got hard ferns, lemon scented ferns, a lot of earwort, the liverworts, the mosses, lots of great undergrowth for like the little insects and the little rodents and stuff, and bluebells as well. Really, really lovely. You can see foxgloves as well. It's very It's also like with some of the ferns and some of the conifers, they kind of like take you to different places. Like there's some of the conifers here are very much like a very Italian Roman look. Oh crikey! I don't have hay fever, but I do kind of get that allergy with the trees and stuff, with the pollen. And then there's other ferns that sort of look more Greekish, So it's interesting how you can be. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's gone up my nose now. Thank you. That's going to be here for a bit. But yeah, all different shades of green as well. So many different shades. One more. Oh.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. Oh. I never suffered from hay fever or allergies until I moved to London at the turn of the century. There's a story going around that it is because London has a larger population of male birch trees, heightens the chances of the pollen count, even though the more popular tree in London is the plane. Oh well, we ploughed on. There's a lovely section here with conifers either side. It's like a guard walking down along them. These are Lawson cypresses, very, very tall, very straight, going straight up. And then there's a stub here, the Old Man of Kent, 1880 to 2016. Much loved landmark, it said, in the Pinetum. Tallest tree in the county, standing at 51 metres. As a fir, had to be cut down due to disease, which is a shame, isn't it? So the Beresford family, who owned the Bedgebury estate, planted the Old Man of Kent, a grand fir, back in 1880, and survived till 2016. That's pretty cool, isn't it? But they're also thinking about the legacy, and being Stoic, that that fir was there from 1880, and the remains of it are still there. It's just sat there. And as I look around here, we're in a section where there are quite a few dead trees. There's like trees that are just standing there, it's just the trunk, but it's still there. There are trees that have been cut down, that they are just, the stump is there, but they're still there. They even though they're not living, the remnants of them are still there, and we're reminded of them. And we kind of do that, don't we? As I said, as humans. And I love that quote. I can't remember who it was. It said, we remain alive as long as somebody is remembering us, is thinking about us. Even though we may have passed on, somebody is talking about us, somebody is thinking of us, we still remain alive in their memory and in the people that are around them taking that in. So very much like I do love to hug a tree. Our lives are very much like a tree, and I do remember reading in the 10th Insight. I don't know if you remember that, if you've read that book. It talks about the largest living organism, and actually there's been some research come out recently, a couple of years ago, that the largest living organism that we have are forests. Particular forests that are like aspen forests, that's all the same tree. They've discovered that their roots interlink, and they are able to send messages along this network of roots that they have. So for instance, if there's an area where they are not so nourished, they don't have as much water, then the roots will pass the water along to the area which is lacking in water. Or if there's an area of disease, the roots will cut off. They'll cut that area off so the disease doesn't spread into the other areas of the forest. So I think we've got a lot to learn from trees. I should have David here, David Oakes, of Trees a Crowd. He would have much more knowledge than myself about what we are surrounded by here.
Cody, come and get the Gruffalo.
We're surrounded by just a lot of conifers in this area. Has quite kind of like a mystical element to it. When again you get that green hue in the air. Lots of different birds around as well. Apparently they have a lot of Christmassy stuff here at Christmas lights, and you can go on a Christmas walk. So it might be fun to come back and see that at night, because obviously with them being a lot of spruces, there's a lot of Christmas trees here that you might see all lit up.
There's an old Welsh proverb that says, "A seed hidden in the heart of an apple is an orchard invisible." I love that. I love comparing myself, my life, to a tree. Trees are great. We need to look after them more. My hope is that we can all stand tall and let our inner seeds grow into something magnificent. Bedgebury Pinetum. If you're in the area, or even if you're not, put it on your list of places to go. You will not be disappointed. The Story Pilgrim was written, walked and talked by me, Darren Hill. Today I was joined by the wonderful and ever-inspiring Lucy. Thank you, Lucy. Anya Backer and Sean the Harp provided the stunning music. To find out more about us all, search The Story Pilgrim on all of your major socials. Until next time, keep listening, and buen camino.